So we are live now. Okay, so I will mute uh, Subhashni and Deepika for a bit. I will welcome everyone so that there is not much of a echo. And then we can probably, so Subhashni aunty, when I actually pass it on to you, you will have to unmute yourself and then you can start, okay? So
Okay.
let me mute you and let me mute Deepika. Okay, so are we live? Okay, fantastic. All right. So, very good morning, everyone. Welcome. A very hearty morning. I really appreciate every one of you actually joining on a Sunday morning. That to this early for those who you are not accustomed to be awake and be active at this time. So I can promise you that you will definitely have a very enjoyable session this morning. First, let me introduce myself and then introduce the co-host and also the guest that we have. So my name is Vishwa. I am one of the volunteer trainers of Heartfulness Institute. I have been practicing this heartfulness method of meditation and its core practices for more than 19 plus years. And I serve also as a regional coordinator overseeing the operations from Ontario all the way to the East Coast in Prince Edward Island. I have also been serving as a heartfulness trainer for more than 5+ years now. So that is a very brief, introduction about myself. And I have my co-host, which is, Subhashni, Mrs. Subhashni. She has been, with practicing this heartfulness core practices and been meditating for more than 40 years now. And she has been very active in the community, especially when it comes to, reaching out, helping people, she has always been there. So she is going to be my co-host. And a wonderful thing this morning, and we are very excited, is that we have our special guest this morning, Councillor Mrs. Dipika Damerla. She is the councillor of Ward 7 from Mississauga City Council. We would like her to be properly introduced first, and then probably I will let you know why I am very excited that we have Deepika today. So with that said, I would like, Subhashni, Mrs. Subhashni to unmute herself and probably introduce, Mrs. Deepika Damerla.
Good morning, all. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Councillor Dipika Damerla. Dipika Damerla was elected to the Mississauga City Council, representing Ward 7 in 2018. She is a long-time community leader in the city. She spent 7 years representing the residents of Mississauga East, Cooksville, as their member of provincial parliament and also as Ontario Associate Minister of Health and Long-Term Care and Minister of Senior Affairs. In that time, she built a reputation as a hardworking advocate for the place she calls home. She is someone who listens to her constituents, addresses their concerns, and stay in touch with them. Having served as a cabinet minister, Dipika brings executive experience to the role of councillor with a proven ability to get things done and deliver results for Mississauga. During her tenure, she was instrumental in campaigning 350 new beds for the Mississauga Hospital, 2 new long-term care homes, 2 new schools, and increasing services in Milton Go line by 40%. Much of Deepika's experience has been in the private sector. Prior to entering politics, Dipika worked in corporate banking and ran a successful small business in Mississauga. She holds an MBA in finance from the Rotman School of Management. Welcome, Dipika.
Thank you, Subhashini and Vishwa. I'm delighted to be here, and I look forward to learning new things this morning. But thank you so much for having me.
Wonderful. Deepika, so maybe as I promised, we have more than around 100 viewers tuning across all the platforms, and the numbers are going up. So maybe I should first start off with sharing why I'm very excited to be having you today. So heartfulness, basically, it's not just about meditation. So we have been very active in the community in helping our people, especially during these unprecedented times. And so whenever we wanted to go and help out people, we have reached out to you, and you have been very, very responsive, showing us the direction in terms of where there is a need and how we can probably step in and help the people out. And you have been a pillar of strength, I would say, Deepika, and also a great, motivation factor for us. So like for us to be, having you today this morning, it's definitely a big pleasure for us. Now, I wanted to share this with everyone. I'll just like a layout of the program in terms of what we are going to be doing today. So I'm going to this is just going to be more of an informal one. So basically, we don't want to make it too formal. It's more of a conversation that we are going to have with Deepika throughout. And what we are going to be doing is, we will I will introduce what heartfulness is, and I will actually give an experience of heartfulness meditation for everyone. And towards the end, there is going to be a question and answer session for about 10 minutes. So in that segment, we would like to invite questions from the general public, both on heartfulness and also for Deepika, because she has been a sort of a motivation figure in the society. So if you have any questions for Deepika, or if you have any questions for me from heartfulness standpoint, I just want to let you all know that you can post your comments on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We have a team who monitors it, and they will relay it during the question answer session. So with that said, maybe I should start, with Deepika first. So Deepika, like, have you experienced, any meditation before, Deepika? You will have to unmute yourself, Deepika.
Yes. Can you hear me now? And I'm just trying to turn my camera on, which I just switched off to save battery. How do I do that?
I can hear you. We just can't see you.
Yeah, I'm just trying to turn my video on. Okay. I don't know how to do that. There must be a way somewhere.
No worries. Like while you check that one, probably you can let us know.
Okay. I have never done, I think I've tried meditation a couple times, but never in a formal manner, like today with an instructor or anything. I've done dhyana at home, but not for long, 5 minutes, 10 minutes tops. And I find it quite difficult to get past 5 minutes. So wonderful. That's my experience.
Wonderful. So I have one question for you, Deepika. Yeah. What are you really looking forward to in this session? Do you have any ideas of what you are really looking to see in this session?
No, I have no expectations other than I am hoping that maybe I will learn the trick to how do you get past 5 minutes and how do you meditate for 25 minutes. And because, I've read and heard a lot about the benefits of meditation, but I've never experienced them only because I've done it so infrequently. And, you have to get past, I think you have to meditate for some time before you can enjoy the benefits. So hoping to learn more about that.
Okay, that is very beautiful. You put it in a very nice way. I'm sure this will resonate with many of our viewers. And, just as a fact that, we have more than 50 people, at least they are going to be experiencing heartfulness for the first time through the session. So I hope that everyone is able to experience something new and refreshing. Now, with that said, I will just give a little bit of a background about, before I go into heartfulness, about why do we need to meditate. You see, and let's say that we have nothing else to do, and then we are actually sitting simply on a day. What do? The mind generally tries to wander into the past or into the future, and it picks up some thought and it starts to go in a particular channel. That's what it does. One may actually ask, what is the problem? Mind's function is to think. So what is the problem? You see, one of the scientific researchers says that an average human being thinks somewhere between 60,000 to 90,000 thoughts a day. Now, the interesting fact over there is there are some parts of it which are conscious projection of thoughts, and there are many aspects of those which are unconscious projection of thoughts. And very importantly, though, most percentage of that particular thoughts are self-repeating, self-sabotaging, and negative in its nature. Now, one thing that we all can now acknowledge is that if the mind is continuously wandering into the past and the future and keeps thinking about one thing or the other, then where is the element of peace that one can experience? For some of us, it has become so incessant that even when we go to bed and we want the mind to shut down so we can sleep peacefully, these incessant chatter keeps continuing, behind the scenes. Now, it is something for us to think. Now, what happens whenever we think about a particular thought? It is followed by a feeling or an emotion, right? So think about, for example, you are actually in a very nature friendly spot in a beautiful hiking trail. Maybe you're overlooking a waterfall. The thought of it brings a very fresh, a very pleasant feeling for us, whenever we think about it. So the thoughts are actually followed by a feeling or an emotion. Now, what happens further? If we like it, we continue to relive that thought. We relive that feeling because we enjoy that. Now, the more we relive, we give a trajectory for our mind to keep thinking about those relevant thoughts. Now, one aspect of our life is because of the busy life that we all have been living, and life is all about challenges, ups and downs that we have been constantly been exposed to. A part of our mind always likes to be a victim, play a victim card. So it always picks up negative things, worries, sufferings, and it also tries to relive those. So now what happens? These thoughts, the negative thoughts, the traumatic ones, the worrying ones, leading to a particular, a feeling, a worrisome feeling, and the emotions thereof. And further, those thoughts and feelings further give a direction for our mind to keep reliving those thoughts. Now, many of us, whenever they come to us to learn meditation, we actually ask them, what is your motivation? What is your driving factor for meditation? Many people say, look, I want change. I don't want to be the way how I am. I would like to be peaceful. I would really like to have a better focus. Now, the question is, it starts with an acknowledgement. If we have a same set of thoughts which are continuously being redundantly played every single day, same set of feelings, same set of emotions that are programmed to fire at a particular time in the day or during a particular situation that we are, how can we experience change? So there is a need for maybe a very powerful technique or a tool that can sort of break this chain of the repetitive thoughts leading to the same set of feelings or emotions, and that further taking us into that sort of a trajectory or a loop of the particular thoughts. Now, we are all like kids or toddlers. We like candies. Why would we like to have a bitter experience? If meditation was supposed to be very difficult, why would we want to actually even do that? Everyone wants something simpler, something effective, something profound, something that can deeply touch us. Now, what if I tell you that there is a particular technique or a tool, and I'm sure that if you were to be experiencing that, you will definitely be touched or moved, and you would like or be open to add that into your daily approach to life. Now, let's look at what heartfulness is all about. Now, before I go into heartfulness, I just wanted to talk about the organization very briefly. Heartfulness Institute, the parent organization of Heartfulness Institute, has been there in Canada for 45 years. In fact, January the 15th of next year, Heartfulness Institute will be taking a step into the 46th year here in Canada in its own service to the people and the society here. The Heartfulness Institute as an organization is a global nonprofit. It exists in 140 countries, and there are millions of practitioners globally who follow this heartfulness method of practices. Now, with respect to this heartfulness, because it is a global nonprofit, heartfulness has always been offered free, whether it is the personalized in-person sessions with the trainers or it is even a group setting. Everything is always offered for free. Now, the organization, because of the millions of seekers around the world, is powered by 100,000 plus active volunteers and 13,000 trainers who are across the world who actually take these service offerings to people in the community. Like we also offer these heartfulness programs in schools, in universities and colleges as leadership development programs. We also offer in corporates in terms of how they can reclaim their inner space. And we also offer it in communities and in several places. Now, with this brief introduction about Heartfulness Institute, let me just give you a little brief about heartfulness. Heartfulness is basically not meditation. Let me make that extremely clear. Heartfulness is basically a toolkit. It has several techniques which are primarily aimed at overall mental wellness, and meditation is just one of those. The practices of heartfulness are something that are researched, developed, and practiced over 100 years. It is not something it was found like an year back and that we are talking about it today. It has been in the practice in our society for over 100 years. Now, the other aspect about heartfulness is it's a very, very simple practice. It's not something that we need to stand upside down, or it is not something we have to go on a fast. It is a very simple practice. Let's say that you are driving to work, or probably you are going by a public transit and you have some time. You can just gently close your eyes and tap into your inner space. Now, the same way, it is also very secular. In a sense, it's very inclusive and it is very embracing. There is no religious affiliation that heartfulness philosophy has. And as a matter of fact, it's very scientific in its approach. There are a lot of research studies which show how heartfulness practices are very groundbreaking. That is something that you all will be able to experience with me when we have a practical experience-based session. Now, in this heartfulness, the question may come as why the heart? There are several reasons for it, but I'm going to give you one single idea that is something for you to take. You see, we all have a mobile phone. I do have one. I'm sure you all have one. Now, what happens? Every day you will have to charge your mobile phone in order to be working. If you don't charge, what happens? The mobile phone dies. The power goes off, right? Now, your heart, if you were to think about it, the time that life conceived in the mother's womb, one can identify the life in the mother's womb through the speck of heartbeats. And the last sign that one may have to say whether the person has passed away is when the heartbeats have stopped. So from the time the life conceives till the time the life ends, the heart keeps beating. It never stops. It never skips. If it does, then we are in a problem, in a bad place. Now the question is, if the heart has to be going continuously for several years, 24/7, where is this heart powered on to? Now the inner source where it is powered onto is what we take as the object of meditation in heartfulness. So the very simple way of to put what heartfulness is to integrate the mind into the heart, or regulate the mind into the heart. Now regulate this noisy mind into the still heart, or regulate this hyperactive mind into the sort of a one-pointedness. So this is what heartfulness is. You see, there is some very interesting aspect about this heartfulness. Now, the interesting aspect is there is a change agent that comes into play. The change agent over here is basically an energy. This is in Sanskrit, it is called as pranahuti. Prana means life. Ahuti means something offered from the source. So a life essence offered from the source is what like a loose definition of what pranahuti is. In English, we call this as transmission. Again, it's a loose definition. Now, when this energy goes inside, it starts to clear off or clean off all the vibrational imprints in the area of the energy centers, So basically like letting our mind very quickly settle down into the deep inner space. And that is something I would want all of you to experience. There are some core practices we have in heartfulness, but for everyone to experience just a sense of what meditation looks like, we are going to first have an experience of heartfulness relaxation followed by heartfulness meditation. So what I'm going to do at this point is like I'm going to give some guided instructions of heartfulness relaxation, which will probably go for about 2 or 3 minutes. And we will start from the toes and we will go all the way up to the crown, relaxing every single part of our body. And this is primarily to relax our body and mind for something to come next, which is the meditation. Now, once the relaxation is all done from the toes all the way up to the crown, I will be bringing you all into your heart. Now, once you come into your heart, I will let you gently connect into that inner space or that inner source of the light, which is powering this particular heart, or the creative force, which is very active inside your heart. Now, after that, we are going to gently rest our mind in that inner space, by that inner essence, and we are going to sit there. Now, if thoughts were to come, we are just going to remind ourselves that, look, I don't want to again go back with these thoughts and relive the past emotions or the past feelings, but rather I would want to sit by this inner presence or that inner essence. And then we are just going to see what that experience would unfold as. So with that explanation, let's begin the actual experience. So I would request everyone to keep your phones in silent mode so they don't bother you during this experience. Now, you may all gently close your eyes. So I hope that you all had a taste of this energy, which we also call as pranahuti or transmission. Maybe like I will check with Dipika ji. So Deepika, if you can, unmute yourself and probably share how you felt.
Sure. I have to say that I found the meditating part a little hard because I'm not used to being still for so long. So I have to confess, I did get up once and went and got myself a drink of water.
Yeah.
But at the end of it, I didn't want it to end because I was feeling quite peaceful, I have to say, when you said open your eye. So it's a funny thing because at one point you think, how long is this going to keep going? Because you don't have idea of time. But then when you said to open your eyes, I was like, I was actually in a good place. So yeah, that's my experience. Mixed.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that, Deepika. Now you see the peace that whatever we generally have experienced in our life is like say that we go to a beautiful place, a vacation, a beach, a nature-friendly spot, and we have experienced peace there. But then the moment we come back into the real world, sometimes we just forget about it. Or even as the vacation is going to end, we are already thinking about what are all the things that I should be doing once I come back, home. Like, has this email been sent? How many emails have come to me? And it just spoils all the condition of peace, right? In meditation, we are able to tap into something much refined state of peace, a much deeper state of peace that having tasted it, it sometimes is very difficult for us to part with it, because given that it is our real inner nature, when we for the first time tap into it, and every day when we are able to tap into this and make it a habit, it becomes our inner quality, it becomes our inner nature. So we become peaceful, we radiate peace, we radiate the calmness. And this actually touches the people around who we work with, who we live with, who we talk with. And it becomes like a much more beautiful state of how we live our life, right? So I'm happy that you're able to experience this and you are able to share with us the feeling that you were not used to sitting for so long, and so you had to get off. Like, this is not the first time. I have heard this from people before as well, but within a span of 2 weeks or 3 weeks, like they have gone into like sitting for even an hour, and they have felt like would be there undisturbed. So like it's just a habit, right from the young age. Have you seen these kids play these pretend games with their dolls? They generally pretend like, hey, what this, what that, and they wouldn't really care about what's happening around us. So we have trained our mind to go into that sort of a state all the while. And so when we try to unlearn or train ourselves the opposite, it's initially a little bit of a challenge, but then we very quickly adjust, given that it's our inner nature to remain calm and peaceful. So this is an experience for everybody. How the heartfulness meditation with aided by pranahuti looks like. Now, we are now moving into a question and answer segment. So again, a reminder for everyone that, Dipika, she has been in the community service, for a long time, and she has been helping a lot of people, and she has been a motivational leader as well in the society. So if you have any questions, either on heartfulness or on of anything to do with your life that you want to check with Deepika, feel free to post your comments in YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And I can already see a few coming up already now. So before I go into the questions, I wanted to share something with you all. So I'm going to share my screen so you can see it. So this is what heartfulness, if through the community arm that we have been doing during this time of COVID, and many good hearts like Deepika have been really helping us with our volunteers. So we have been helping a lot of organizations who help the homeless. When there was a shortage in the food banks, we collected around 500 kilograms of non-perishable foods, and we gave it to the food banks, so to replenish the stock. And we have also been helping the long-term care homes, large acute care hospitals, bigger hospitals with hot food, because they work extra long hours to keep us safe. And it is our show of gratitude in these hard times to help them. And also we have been helping our frontline heroes, our Peel Regional Police Force, our firefighters. We have touched so many people in the organization, and I'm sure our volunteers are all very excited to continue this attitude of service. And so that is something that we all want to do. So that is something I wanted to share with everyone about how active we are in the community. So now we have around 10 minutes left. So we will move into the question answer segment. Deepika, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So what is the first question that is actually coming? So give me 1 minute. So Deepika, because there are a few questions that have come, so maybe we will take a minute or so to actually answer each of those questions. So we will try to answer as many as possible. Okay. The first question that comes is for you, Deepika.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a student. I'm confused in making a choice about my career path. I'm not really a fan of virtual schooling, and I feel I get stressed up and tired at the end of the day. What would you like to tell for students like me?
Well, that's a tough question. So, what I'm hearing is someone who uh, doesn't know what he wants. He or she, it's not clear to me if it's a young man or a young woman, doesn't know what to do, but also isn't happy with the process. So there's two things: doesn't know what kind of career to go into, and while training for the career is struggling with the new way of learning. And what I would say to this young person is that, it's a cliched thing, right, that you hear all the time: do what you love and it'll come easy. But sometimes it's hard to do what you love because it's a competitive world, and doing what you love isn't always easy. And I could say I want to be a movie star, doesn't mean it's going to come easy. So you really have to think hard. I've always said you really have to think hard in terms of, you know how much effort are you willing to put in to pursue a dream? And Subhashini's daughter is a fantastic example. Her dream was to become a doctor, but she had to go through a very circuitous route, and she has succeeded, but she was very persistent. So my advice to this young person is, definitely follow whatever is your dream. Don't edit yourself, but be ready to put in the effort. That would be the first part. On the second part around the virtual learning, that's hard. And I suspect that this person is also suffering from some social isolation. You're in front of your screen all day and trying to study, and it's not the same as having friends around you and a teacher that you can ask. I just want this person to know that we're all struggling with that. My daughter, I feel, my daughter is doing her final year, and all I see her do is sit in front of her computer, and I want her to go out with her friends and enjoy life a little bit, because you need to have a balance. It's very hard to strike that one. But hey, the vaccine's around the corner. So by summer, hopefully things will be better. And in the meantime, this hopefully strengthens you as a person, trying to get through some tough times.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Dipika. The next one is from Anand Sindhu on YouTube. What's the difference and similarities between Reiki and heartfulness transmission? Is a question for the heartfulness trainer. Thank you so much, Anand, for giving this question. You see, I will put it very simply. I can do a compare and contrast about heartfulness with any other system, but that's not something we generally like to do, because whatever I may try to explain, it's more on the knowledge aspect of it. Now, the wonderful thing that we do in heartfulness is, like, instead of trying to compare heartfulness with any other systems, because we respect all the systems because they all are there to help everyone in a different way. One of my mentors used to define this heartfulness in this way. So think that there is a house and there are like 9 doors through which you can go in. So Reiki could be one door, heartfulness could be one door. So it's something whichever appeals to you, right? But in heartfulness, we encourage everyone to take a very experiential viewpoint or a mindset. So experience touches you like no other thing. So, like, how much ever I can actually explain, from an intellectual standpoint, once you feel touched by an experience, that will convince you no matter what. So if you like something, you always like to do that. So what I would really like to tell you is, if you have been practicing Reiki, feel free to do that. And if you are new to heartfulness, try this heartfulness too, and take it into your own heart. And then you try to compare what your experience is like, and whichever you like, you make it your own, and then, like, get the benefit out of it. So that's what I would like to share on this question. But thanks for the question. So Deepika, the next question is for you. Like, what is a counselor's day looks like? How stressful your job is, and how do you manage to remain calm?
Excellent question. And there isn't one day that is like the other. Usually my day starts, I want to say my first meeting typically starts around 9:30, and my last meeting typically ends around 7:30. So they are very long days. The starts a little bit later, around 9:30, but there are days that I've gone from 9:30 to 8:30. And usually I never end before 7:30. So it's tough, because what such a long day means essentially is two things. One is you don't get a break. And two, even doing simple things like making dinner can become complicated, because I have to find time at around 1 p.m. when we have a lunch break from our meetings to quickly prep for dinner and lunch. So there's some logistical issues. And no day is the same, but I want to say the days usually I spend about half my day on council issues, so council meetings where we pass bylaws, and especially with COVID, we've been really looking at every few weeks we have to change our bylaws to catch up with what the province wants us to do, and we debate those things, and how to close the parks, and should we close the parking lots, and all of that, and public health. And lately there's been this big debate, and it's a debate that's in council as well. Should small businesses be open or closed through this whole Christmas season? Because on the one side you have public health, on the other side you have people's livelihoods. And so there's been a very spirited debate, and a number of councillors fall in the camp of, why can't we let small businesses open when the big boxes are open? And then there are other councillors who feel, we need to close as much as we can to try and control this sooner. So these are important debates that take place. The other half of my day is pretty much taken up by constituents who will call me with their concerns, and I try and help them out. So I hope that's a good summary.
Thank you so much, Deepika. So it is definitely very stressful as well, right? All the attention is on people who are on the, service side.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I will take the next question. But before that, I wanted to acknowledge more than 100 people who have, been
Wow.
joined through like different platforms. So thank you so much. And also I would like to share, thank Albus. He has partnered with us through Facebook to take this program to more than 200,000 people. So I would like to thank, Albus for being very forthcoming with us. Now, the next question that comes is, I lost my job during COVID. I can't get this person's name right. I have 2 young kids to look after, and with every passing day, I'm getting more anxious and stressed out. How can meditation help me? Okay, so I guess this question I can take it. I really empathize with your situation. This is really like an unprecedented time for all of us. So I can really empathize with your situation. I'm definitely not going to say that if you were to meditate, you will get your life back on track by like getting your job or whatever it is. That's not going to be an honest answer. But I look at it in a very different perspective. If let's say that, we have these stressful thoughts and the anxiety that, goes inside us, it cripples us in multiple ways. So there are also scientific researchers which say that whenever we are stressed, it lowers our immunity levels. So our health is very important too. If you have to really recover and go back into the, the old ways. So our health is very important. So it's important that we don't really be stressed and anxious. And the other thing I can say is generally whenever we have to make any life decisions, it's very important that we don't really remain in that state of stress and anxiety, because again there are scientific researchers which say that whenever we get into a stressed or an anxious states, the frontal lobes, which we generally use for cognitive processing, shuts down. So basically like our life decisions, whatever we have to make, we will not be able to process and make the right decisions. So I hope that probably gives you a sort of insight in terms of why we should really not be stressed and anxious. What meditation can in turn do, or something like heartfulness can do, is it can really create that meditative positive space inside us. It will create a space where we can anchor ourselves to whenever our mind begins to wander into the space of negativity. Very importantly, in heartfulness, what I have seen in my own personal life, especially in those challenging situations, is it has created a state of awareness, so that I am very aware of what's happening inside my system, where my mind is, projecting. If it projects into any of those negative areas, I can really pull my mind back not to get into those areas. So that avoids more of any of the stressful feelings, but rather focus on what better I can do to recover from that situation. So I hope that gives you a sort of an answer. So Deepika, we have been getting a few questions as well. So is it okay if we take maybe a couple more questions, Deepika? It's around 9:33. We are 3 minutes over, but if it's okay, we can take a couple more questions.
Yeah, just 2 more, and then it would be nice to.
Okay, yeah, sure. The next question is coming for you, Deepika. You have chosen, I think this is also from a student, I guess. You have chosen a life of moving into service as a counselor. Can you talk to us about your source of inspiration?
That's a really good question. And the source of inspiration for me initially was different. And of course, I've now been a public servant for 11 years, and now it's a little bit different. Originally, it was about being part of the democratic process and getting elected. And that was very exciting for me. Most kids don't have this dream, but even when I was young, I used to think being a politician, it was something that I was very intrigued by. And as a child growing up in India, I would, most people are enamored by movie stars, but I was always enamored by the politicians. And when I came to Canada as a young person, then one of the things that impressed me was how accessible politicians are in Canada compared to India, right? So in India, before you can get to the politician, you have to get to the chaprasi, and then the chaprasi's assistant, and how many levels before you can ever get to a minister. And they move in cars with armored cars and bodyguards. And over here, it's exactly the opposite. Like, you can meet politicians, they're so accessible. And so then I started to volunteer and get involved in politics, and I got elected, and I was very excited. But now, 11 years later, I think that which inspires me is somewhat different, which is the ability to make change. That is very powerful. And to have even a small role in being able to make those changes, that really inspires me. And so those long days become very defensible, and you're able to get through because you have some goals and you're trying to change things and make life better.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I know there is a lot of questions coming in, but I'll probably take this as a last question. I have been trying to meditate every day for 2 hours early in the morning, but I end up having headache most of the time ever since I started it. Isn't meditation supposed to help experience inner peace? Is there a maximum time limit in heartfulness meditation? Okay, so you see, I will rather give a very brief answer so you can probably understand what this is. You see, there are many people who go to gym and who think they can actually do some exercises, but there are some who think that I want to do it right, and they engage with a trainer. Meditation, most of us think, is much simpler, and so it's as simple as just looking into some YouTube videos, closing our eyes, and then doing it. I respect everyone's feelings. My experience has been that I have had a lot of questions in my mind in terms of why I have a particular experience, what's happening inside my system when I meditate, how long will it take for me to really see a change, am I really on that path of evolution or not? There have been several questions. And one thing I have felt in heartfulness is when you engage with a trainer and when you actually discuss these experiences, then you sort of get an answer and guidance because the trainer on the first hand has gone through that same process. So that has actually been very helpful. So that is what I would rather suggest, that I don't know what meditation you follow, so I can't really comment, or I'm not competent to comment on those things. But what I can tell you is try heartfulness, maybe reach out to us, and then our trainers would be very glad to help you on the path. So you can see the email address that we have on my screen. It's heartfulnesscares@heartfulness.org. So if you are somebody who is interested in deepening your experience with heartfulness, and you want to know how, send us an email, heartfulnesscares@heartfulness.org, and we will connect you with the trainer, and we will give you some one-on-one personalized sessions, also some group experiences as well. And there are several techniques in heartfulness, as I had said before. So we will sort of onboard you with all those techniques, so you can detox yourselves of stress. You can detox yourselves of anxiety, you can detox yourselves of fear, and then you will find that inner transformation blossoming, and you can make that inner peace and calmness your inner quality. So we are looking forward to be connecting with you. And with that, probably we will end these question answer sessions. Deepika, I really wanted to, thank you so much for being with us this morning. And it's your family time that you have given to us this morning for 1 hour, and you have also been very interactive with the audiences. So I hope that you found those questions interesting, and this experience also with heartfulness, helpful, and something that you liked. Thank you so much, Deepika. We really need people like you in our society to, help people like us in, taking, messages like heartfulness and how we can help the community, especially in these situations.
Thank you, Vishwa. Thank you, Subhashini. Thank you to Heartfulness for everything you do. Very impressed, very service oriented. And just you guys have also taken time out of your family time to help people. So really appreciate what you've done. I know you have a few more of these meditative sessions through December. So I wish you the very best for that. And happy holidays to all. And thank you to Heartfulness for being such a good citizen of Canada. Thank you all.
That's a very nice message, Deepika. Thank you very much. One last thing that I will share with everyone is for the new year, it's the time where we can take a vow, and it's a time we make resolutions. December 31, January 1 and January 2, on all those 3 days, the Global Guide of Heartfulness is going to be hosting a meditation program. This is for the whole global community. So where more than 30 million people are expected to join and meditate and benefit from it. We will share all that information with you. Stay connected with us. Once again, thanks so much for joining with us this morning. Enjoy your rest of your weekend. See you, everyone. Bye.